Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Stay that way because I like it like that.
Hey, welcome back to the Larry Yates Show. Thank you guys again. Hey, look here, I really appreciate it. Let me get this mic set up here. Someone said, well, Larry, don't let the mic block that pretty face of yours. Okay, maybe they didn't say pretty face, but anyway. I guess some of you guys out there are doing lip reading, so you want to see the lippy moving kind of thingy. But anyway, I really want to appreciate you guys supporting me. And once again, I'm doing a series on how did we get here. And so on the series that we're doing on how did we get here, I'm generally going to be doing a sit down and chat with you guys like now. I like this one-on-one, just me and you, just we're sitting down, just and giving your brother an opportunity to share at least some thoughts and some research that I personally have done, and hopefully some words of wisdom that we can share between each other. I really appreciate you guys sending me some good response on the marginalization of women and how we got here. That was the first story of our series. And now today is how do we get here, the mistreatment of African Americans, not just in America, but around the world. I mean, it's just around the world. So we're going in this Black History Month, and this is by the request of one of my viewers that sent me a text message that Larry really will want you to do a how do we get here, and as far as how we are being treated as human beings today in today's world. And so we're going to get to that. My heart is a little heavy, and you got to help me get through this. That old human side of me is coming out here, and I had sat in the car and meditated, and I said, well, I'm going to try not to break here, But it's these children, the killing of all these kids, man. And I'm looking at these children, the face of these young kids that are terrified. And some of the stories that is coming out of the heroic action of some of the teachers, and we want to thank the officers for their brave work, of course, and some of the students themselves act in such heroic. And I'm not a big hero worshiping kind of person. I don't really push that word out there. I think we push it out there and water it down a little bit. And the show today is going to have to take a little bit. I'm going to have to try to shift some time because I didn't expect to sit here and have this conversation about another school shooting and the terror that a parent has. And you know me, I generally don't make a lot of notes, so you might have to bear with me because I'm so choked up here that I had to make some notes, and I'm hoping I can find my notes, but a thought came to me. Whew. How do a kid leave home and go to school and leave school and go to a morgue just how do you wrap your mind around that? Your child leave home to go to school, and that child leaves school and go to a morgue. We know that the gun laws in America, there's nothing going to be done about it because too many people are benefiting from these tragedies. How Do you wrap your mind around a politician that can look in the face of these children? And like the governor said in Florida, and then Marco Rubio said, it's not the right time to talk about guns. Well, it's never going to be the right time to talk about guns if the Republican Party is in control. And I blame it not just on the Republican politicians, is that the groundswell of support that they get is the Republican voter is responsible for the blood that's on the hands of this party for doing nothing to protect the children from all of these guns. And I know we got to address that because we have too many of you Republicans that'll say, well, we're voting for them because they're against abortion. So you stop the abortions, but you are okay with the young men with guns going up into the school and killing the babies. You don't want a woman to have control over her body. But God damn it, I want my gun, and my kid can get a gun I was 17, 18, 19 years old. You know, I know I'm babbling here, but I can't help it because it is so painful to me. And maybe this is what I can do. I look at this and I listen to the Republican Party, and I'm listening to the news media in a whole bit. And the name of this show today is, as African Americans, how do we get here? And let me show you one of the reasons that I think this is going to kind of tie in. The young white male that went into the schools and that go into the schools and shoot up these kids. This is mostly young white men. This is not a racist statement that I'm making. This is just a fact that this is mainly young white men that are doing these mass shootings. And here is the problem why we are not addressing anything. Because he's a white male. You're talking about mental illness. And every time one of these white guys go and do mass shootings like this is Black History Month. I'm going to tell you like I see it. And like I hear so many in the community say the same thing. You know, black people, you know what I'm talking about. Whenever a young white male go into a church and shoot up a bunch of people, go into a mall and shoot up a bunch of people, go into the schools and shoot up a bunch of people to say he's mentally ill. But if that was an Arab man, you wouldn't even think twice. You'd call him a terrorist. If that was the brown man, Mexican, you would say he was an illegal alien. Illegal alien. But if it was a black man, you'd be calling him a no good thug. Which you would be right if a black man did some crap like that. Or when a young black man do some crap like that, you're right, he is a thug. But guess what? What do you call this demon and devil that walks up in a school and shoot up a bunch of children? You call him, he has a little mental illness. And until we can level the playing field by the media and our politicians and in our schools, even identifying the perpetrator. You want to identify the perpetrator different because of the color of his skin. And you wonder why there's a problem with racism here in America. And you know that when we as African Americans cry out to the nation, to the world, that we are treated differently, This is one day you can look up and see, just in the identifying the perpetrator, you see how they'll treat us different. We as African American, we ask ourselves, well, how did we get here? How do we get to the point as black men and women that we are treated so different by everybody? I'm blessed enough that I've traveled around the world, many nations, many times. I've been to Malaysia, been to Asia, Africa, so-called Middle East, Africa, the Middle East. That's a dumb statement because the Middle East is in Africa, but for the sake of the conversation. And then we ask ourselves, well, how do we get here to be treated so differently? And even by those that have escaped their perpetrator, the Asian community. Now remember, I'm not painting everybody with a broad brush, but I'm just telling you this is what happens with the Asians when they come to America in our community. They treat us different. When Rodney King, so-called Rodney King riot, who did the black people attack? Businesses that we attacked. It was the Koreans, because the Korean had treated us like filth to the point they started killing our children in the stores over a thing of orange juice. How did we black people, how do we get here that everybody wants to mistreat us? How do we get here? The Hispanic community. Now, you know I'm not talking about everybody, but it's too many of you in your community think like this and act like this. When no one else opened their arms to you, you had nowhere else to go in the community, you come into the African American community, and guess what the Hispanic community does? They try to mistreat African Americans. The man from India and the Arab man that bought the stores and bought the liquor stores and bought the gas stations, the AM, the PMs and stuff before 9/11 happened. The Arab man mistreated us in the community. How did we get here? How do we get here that everybody that comes into our community or come to America feel that they have the right to mistreat black people? And I don't want nobody to come with this old crap. Well, if you respect each other, we'll do this. That's bull crap, because in your community, in the Arab community, the darker the person is, the lower he or she is on an economic totem pole. In Asia, the darker the person is, he's on the lower part of the economic totem pole. And it goes on and on and on, and you ask yourself a question, well, how did we get here? How do we get here that because we are dark-skinned people, that you come from around the world and you mistreat us? And when we are shot down by the cops, this is Black History Month. I'm just calling it like it is. Don't take my word for it. You can go and Google everything I'm saying. When black people were being beaten, shot, and killed by the cops, the Asian didn't run to our rescue. The Mexican didn't run to our rescue. The Arabs did not run to our rescue. But when you get in trouble, the very rights that black people fought and died for, the blood, sweat, and tears that we put into this soil as ex-slave, you benefit from it. But you feel that you can come here and treat us different. And it's so funny about that. I talked to little Haitians, even other blacks from other countries come here. They have the audacity to try to mistreat African American when everybody is benefiting from, once again, the blood and sweat that we put into the soil. We didn't run away from our oppressors. We have the worst oppressor in the recorded history for almost 400 years. There is no other recorded history of a people going through what we have come through what we have come through. We are basically superhuman beings. You damn right I said it, because ain't nobody come through and what we have come through. Everybody else had to run away from his oppressor. You ran away from China. You ran away from the Philippines. You ran away from the Middle East. You came here. We couldn't run from our oppressor. We had to stay right here and fight for what we have today, and we're still fighting. And then everybody is benefiting from our blood and sweat. The gay community, you're benefiting. White women, you're benefiting. Everybody. But how did we get here? How did we as black people get here? And for the sake of time, so let me go in and address this just a little bit. See, this story, and we had to think about this story now, as who wrote this story, who's telling this story, who gave us this story, and who interpreted this story. Now, I want to, a friend of mine said to me the other day, he said, Larry, you take a little time to get to the meat of this topic when you do this, how do we get here, is because I have to touch upon religion. And those of you, you're going to hear some things that you've never heard before. And it's going to be hard for some people to swallow this, because I'm not trying to be a leader. I'm not trying to lead you anywhere. But I want you to go back and just remember when I talked about this last week, that even in your own religion, I have to remind people that Jesus spoke in parables. He didn't tell you exactly what he meant. He spoke in parables and metaphors. In the book of Psalms, it said God spoke through his mouth with parables and dark places, which are metaphors. And then Paul says, I have to remind you that this is an allegory. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to ease you into some things. When I start to say and you get a little uncomfortable, you know that I'm not telling you what to believe, what to think. I'm just telling you the very religion talked about allegories. And here's this story now. Once again, the Bible said that you should praise God from sun up to sundown, from sunrise to sunset. The sun don't rise. The sun don't set. Is the Bible a lie? No, that's not what I'm saying. It's an allegory to tell you to worship your God 24/7. Just 24 hours. That's all it means. So you see now that we believe that the sun rises and sunset, and it's in the very book that talks about allegory. So now let me get into how we as black people got here today, where people just treat us less than kind so often around this globe, this planet. And it started with this story of Noah. You've heard of him. Old guy sitting around scratching his beard. Oh, Noah, you know. He heard the voice of God speaking to him. Noah, and Noah like, who is that? It's God. Yeah, I want you to, okay, God, what you want me to do? I want you to, this is the story now. I'm not making this up. God said, well, I want you to build a boat. Build a boat? Well, I don't know. I ain't never built no boat for God, but you build a boat, and I'm gonna show you. Now it's gonna rain. Rain? This is the story, folks. And now that it's gonna rain, he go around trying to tell everybody that it's gonna rain. The folks are looking at him like, "Hey, man, oh Noah, he been drinking something here. What is he talking about? Rain? It ain't. And guess what? Now they don't tell you about all the water that's on the earth now. No, it ain't never rained before, but you got 70% of the earth is covered with water. Where did the water come from? Oh, okay, they don't want to talk about that, because it never rained. And this is the story that got us where we are here today, black folks. So this guy built a boat. And then God says to him, and now look here, now he's about 600 years old. 600 years old, got God didn't see none of the young, strong bucks. Get this old guy 600 years old over there scratching his beard and stuff to build a boat. And that's, look here, we're gonna work on this story after we take a break, people. I'm gonna come back and we're gonna work and see what is the allegory of this story. So when we come back and after, we're not gonna take the break right now, but when we do, we're gonna do the second end. So when I do these stories, or how do we get here, I try to tell you the political climate and the national and what people are living under. And then I come back and show you, tie it up for you. But once again, here's this old guy, 600 years old, scratching his beard, and God spoke to him again. Hey, God, who is that? I don't know. How did he know it was God? Boy. Anyway, and look here, I made some notes. When God told him to build a boat, this is what he said now. And you can go to the Bible, you'll see this for yourself. He said, well, the length of the boat would be 300 cubits. A cubic is 1.5 feet. 300 cubits. So you got a 450 foot long boat. Then he said, well, the width of it is going to be 50 cubits. Okay, now you got a 75 boat that's 450 feet long and 75 feet wide. Right? You follow this story now. I didn't give it to you. It's in your book. And I know some of you can say, well, Larry, I didn't creep in your house last night and write this in the book called the Bible. It's already there when Larry was born. Now, and then he said, well, I want you to build it kind of high, Noah. Noah like, this is a 600-year-old man with 3 sons now, going to build a boat that is 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 30 cubits in height. 45 feet in height. That's about 3 stories. Now you wrap your mind around this. 3 people, and one of them was 600 years old, built a boat that big. And then guess what? It's got a little clouded out there. This is the story, folks. And here's the thing. God told him, said, get one of every, two of every kind, creatures that was unclean, and put them on the boat. I think he said something like get 7 of the clean, male and female of each. Put them on the boat. Birds, fish. I don't know what they had fish on there. Maybe they left the fish for the water. I don't know. Seals, and I don't know. So now you got this 450-foot boat, 75 feet wide, and 3 stories high, full of elephants and giraffes and hippopotamus and zebras and cattle of every cattle and buffaloes, and I don't know, did they have dinosaurs on there? I don't even know. They might have had dinosaurs on. You know what? I tell you, I went to I'm stumbling. They may have dinosaurs on there. I mean, and I think it's outside Ohio or Kentucky where they reconstructed the whole thing and got a whole park where that you go, and I went there, and inside the reconstructed version of this Noah's Ark, they had dinosaurs in there. It's out there, and I think it's outside Kentucky there somewhere. Yeah, Mike. And you see, folks, there is when you believe God is involved, and you think anything can happen. So when someone tell you God is involved, you believe anything. But see, what this does is it's a form of menticizing. Go Google the word menticize. And menticize is a raping of the mind. So black folk, how did we get here? I say, Larry, how did we get here? Now you know where I'm going with this. So now it started to rain. And now the earth, now listen to this. I didn't write this. The earth is covered in water. This is going to blow your mind. The earth is covered in water now. And you know how deep the water it is according to this story? 15 cubics high. The water was 15 cubic deep. That adds up to 22 feet of water. You believe that the earth was covered in 22 feet of water. You have been taught that a boat that is 450 feet long, 3 stories high, full of animals, 2 of every kind on the planet, can float in 22 feet of water. I mean, no, I didn't write this now. Don't you guys come at me now. I'm just saying. And you know what? And what really blows my mind with this, because you just look at them on National Geographic, you know, this is not a racist statement, but this is just a truth. These white guys up in the Andes Mountain. Look here. Mount Everest is 29,029 feet. How did Mount Everest get covered in 22 feet of water? You got to see, I'm not trying to tell you anything is wrong. I'm trying to do thought-provoking. You asked me to do a show on how we as black people got here. Look at how twisted we have been taught. You believe that Mount Everest was covered in 22 feet of water. And then what tickles me sometimes, I look at National Geographic, like I was saying, and there's always got these white guys that's going up in them. You know, they have the base camp down there, base camp round about 3,000 feet, and at about 8,000 feet, the guys with they never have good communication. It's always, John, what do you see over there? Oh, I think I see something that look like a boat. Wait a minute, you at 8, 9, 10,000 feet looking for a boat. How is the boat gonna settle at 10, 20,000 feet? You know, then they get the helicopter. Mark, you up there in the chopper, blah, blah. I'm looking down. You know, Jake, I think I see that shadow, what you're talking about. You notice they never get over there to the boat. They just stand up there. Wow, it's a little dangerous getting down there. What, you just climbed up 18,000 feet of snow and ice to get there, and then you look over there and say, I don't think we can make it down there, Jake. Just a little bit too dangerous. But look, I don't mean to laugh. Yes, I do mean to laugh. Because this is the story that was given to us. And the story is whose story? They say it's history, and his story, whose story? Now here you come. The water recedes. Aha! And it settles with all them creatures and stuff on them. Brrr. All of the creepy crawly things that God told him to put on the boat, and 2 of every kind, male and female of everything, you know. All of them on the boat now. You got it? Well, the old boy Noah, I don't know, was he pissed off, or was he angry, or was he just tired of being locked up in there smelling all that manure and stuff, because they didn't have no plumbing. They didn't have one window in there. They had no air conditioning, nothing. They didn't have no vacuum cleaners or nothing like that. How are they going to clean and feed that many animals? I just want to be thought-provoking. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just asking you. And old boy got drunk. old boy got old boy after a while. After he got out of that, he said, "Man, I can't take this shit. I'm just gonna drink." He gets drunk. Now, after he get drunk, black folks, I want you to stay with me here because here we go. One of his son named Ham walked in the tent and caught him naked. He walked in, and the other son, and Jeppet and the other son, they walked in backwards. You know, they covered him up. They went in there to cover old Pops up. They walked in. This is in your Bible. This is ways it's been interpreted to you. And I'm going to remind you again, Paul said these things are allegories. So I'm going to get to that, but I want to show you what you have been taught to believe in. And I'm not saying you're wrong. But then the old boy, I guess he hadn't woke up yet because the other two brothers, they didn't go in. No one had warned the man, said, "Don't go see your daddy naked now." There's nowhere in the Bible that it said Ham was warned to not walk in and open the tent. To see your father naked and you're cursed. Ham was cursed according to the way this story is told. The other two sons, like I said, backed in backwards and covered him up. I don't know how did they cover him, know how to get to him. They walking backwards. They didn't turn around and look. They could have just put the thing on the floor and say, "Oh, hey, Ham, I covered Pops up." Well, you can't go and check because if you go in there and check and he's still naked, then that's a double curse. I don't know. And then Ham, according to this story, was cursed. And Ham become the father of black people. And because of this story, billions of people between Christian, Jews, and Muslims believe that story, that we as black people was cursed. And all over the world now, and over the last 60, 70 years, 100 years, that same belief system has creeped all over the earth now, to the point that you in the Asian community treat your child with dark-skinned as if he was cursed. You in the Hispanic community now treats your dark-skinned child as if he or she is cursed. And one of the justification of slavery and the brutality the world has supported us being put through is because of the story that Noah got drunk and his son looked upon his nakedness, and we are cursed behind it. You got preachers that don't even touch the story after that. They don't know what to do with it. And then they find another passage over here in the Bible, I forget where that is, slave, honor your master. All because of this story. If it wasn't so serious, I could laugh at this. But when the cops shoot a black kid down, psychologically, subconsciously, he thinks that child is cursed. And you black preachers, you in the black community, deep in the psyche of the fiber of the being that you are, think you're cursed. I remember when, with the straight hair and pulling up the hair and ashamed of our nose and ashamed of our lips and our beautiful women ashamed of the beautiful body that God gave them because we were told that we was cursed. And so many of us, self-hatred came from this, believing that we was cursed. And this is all an allegory Let me check. Jarvis, how much time do I have here? 15 minutes. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a musical break. And when I come back from the break, I'm going to share some light on you about this, the way this lie has been perpetrated on us and what this means. So Jarvis said we can do. So let's take a little break. Jarvis gonna play my video, and we'll be right back.
People rising in the streets, they see what's going on. Too many loved ones dying, too many kids no home. In the troubles of the world, leaders push us down. Lies and fear keep us on the ground, like a storm inside, raining in the facts. Like lightning, the truth is striking back. Oh, I can see the sunrise, I can see a brighter way. I can see the world changing day by day. I can see the spirit fly, I can see the mothers cry, their heads held high. I can see the sunrise, I can see the sunrise, I can see the sunrise,
I can see a brighter day.
damn your holy daycare. Peace be unto you, Yahweh will be there. They say they died for you. In the troubles of this world, leaders push us down. Lies and fear keep us on the ground, like a storm inside, raining in the facts. And it's just like lightning, the truth is striking back. Oh, I can see the sunrise, I can see a brighter way. I can see the world changing day by day. I can see the spirit fly, I can see the mothers cry, heads held high. I can see the sunrise, I can see the sunrise, I can see the sunrise.
I can see a brighter day.
I can see the sunrise, I can see the sunrise, I can see the sunrise,
I can see a brighter day.
In the troubles of this world, leaders push us down. Lies and fear keep us on the ground, like a storm inside, raining in the facts. And it's just like lightning, the truth is striking back. Oh, I can see the sunrise, I can see a better way. I can see the sunrise,
I can see a brighter
yeah, I can see the sunrise, I can see the spirit fly, I can see the spirit fly,
I can see a brighter day.
I can hear the children's laughter, I can see it in their eyes, I can see blue sky,
I can see a brighter day.
I can see the rainbow, I can see the rainbow, I can see the sunrise.
Hey. Look here. I really want to thank you guys, and once again, for those that I'm not making fun of your belief in God, and I'm not making fun of your belief in Jesus or the Christ or Muhammad or whomever. I'm just trying to be thought provoking. I want you to think about the crap and how we got here, and especially with black people. How did we get here? And now you see the story. So because of the sake of time, and I just want to say something else. Now, I listen to some of the gospel shows and stuff every now and again. And this idiot, and I don't normally call no preacher out, but this idiot Joseph Prince, this foul mouth, I'm going to just leave it at that, actually made a statement when he talked about Noah's Ark and God promising the children of Israel called the original inhabitants of Israel squatters on God's land. Well, I want Mr. Prince to know a little bit of something about the squatters on God's land. You see, black people, it does not matter whether you believe in intelligent design. It does not matter whether you believe in, that's my phone there. It does not matter whether you believe in evolution or creation. When the divine God of all decided to make all men and women, he decided to choose black men and women. He chose black men and women. So we have been inheriting this earth for hundreds of thousands of years, long before there was an Asian man by the name of Joseph Prince. So you put that on your show, Mr. Prince. But look here, I had to do that. But let me get into this thing. I don't have a little time. You see, when the ancients was talking about Noah, people, as Paul said, these was allegories. Noah is the masculine side of our consciousness. And when he said the water covered the earth in ancient philosophy meaning your head. It was talking about your brain and all the little creepy, crawly, living things that's in your head, that you are Noah at the level of consciousness of Noah, that you must build an ark to protect you and yourself and your inner family, that part of you that is deep inside of your consciousness. And when you hear people talk about the Canaanites meaning those that dwell in low places. And what that means is that you and I, males, females, blacks, and white, we're all Canaanites when we live in our lower consciousness. When we're living from the flesh. And when they talk about the curse of Ham, darkness in ancient philosophy meant wisdom and knowing. Darkness meant that you were deep into thought. And once you understand the deepness of thought, and they say, well, Larry, what does this curse thing mean? That's just telling you, my sisters and brothers, that you're going to always be struggling inside of who you are. You're going to be struggling with the creeping side of you that we all have. You're going to be struggling with the male and female side of all beings that's living and dwelling within ourselves. The different sons of Noah, the earth is the mind, the brain, Noah represents the carnal mind. And the three sons with Noah brings about 4 entities which represent 4 levels of consciousness. This is why water, and Jesus said he walked on water, and then he said, wash me clean with water. They're talking about consciousness, a higher level of thinking, a cleansing of your spirit. The art has nothing to do with no freaking nails and wood. The art is how you gather yourself. You gather up all the creeping side of yourself. This is why you get into trouble sometime and your parents says, boy, girl, son, pull yourself together. You hear them say, gather yourself. It's about your consciousness. When you look at the ancients and you look into the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and the mystics of it all, when they talk about these different elements, water, the fire that the God was talking about to not destroy with fire, he was talking about your emotions. And in order to get to a higher level of consciousness, you have to gather yourself together in a spirit of love and a spirit of knowing who you are. Because once you become the knowing of yourself, you become the knower that builds the art to gather yourself together, to gather your consciousness together, to gather the spirit of who you are inside, that you do not live in an emotional stage all the time, that you're not doing something silly and stupid like going up into schools and shooting up kids because he didn't reach the knower inside of himself and gather his emotions and pain and suffering together and put them away to get past your jealousy, get past your anger, get past your greed, because you have built a subconscious art that houses all of this, that you can control it, that it does not spill over and destroy other people and destroy yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, the story of Noah is a beautiful story when you understand it. But you are not a cursed people. And I'm hoping that the little bit of information from this, how do we get here, was enough to at least have you to do some research, do some thinking, and look up this word menticize, because that's the way the story was given to you, was to destroy your mind so that you wouldn't understand the possibilities of the stories of the way that I am now presenting it to you. I'm not a leader, nor do I want to be. I'm not a preacher, nor do I want to be. But I did this story on Black History Month because I was asked to, and I am going to be doing more of the series of how did we get here. Hit me up on Larry Yates as is at AOL.com and shoot me an email. And I would love to know of a story that you want to send to me and want me to cover a story about how do we get here. Once again, we've come to the end of the show, man. This is pretty cool. I thank you guys for supporting me in doing a one-man show. I'm going to have guests come in, so you're not going to get totally bored with me and all this. And so the next time someone tell you they're on a mountain looking for a boat, don't even say anything. Just walk away. He's too gone. He's just gone. Anyway, remember, ladies and gentlemen and people of this planet, and let's pray for the children and the families of this travesty. I'm really emotional, and thank you guys for holding me up here because it's not been easy. But remember, look inside of you and find the Noah and build an art inside of your spirit, and you can float above all of the emotional waves that's trying to wash you in the wrong direction. Remember, a nation can rise no higher than it elevates its woman. Peace.